right, so you guys want to get into the characters? We're going to spend a few minutes talking about each of them since we've gotten our exclusivity stuff done, and
Okay.
people
Little
probably
lightning round on
the
on the
lightning
characters.
round. Do you want to do you want to do the timer? Since do you want to do the timer? Because we're going to spend
Are we
5
actually
minutes.
going to time this?
We're going to time this. We're going to go 5
I
minutes
thought
per
we were
character.
going to call the lightning round and then spend 20 minutes on each character.
It is us, so we could spend 2 hours on it. So yeah, we'll spend 5 minutes on each character. I think Rob said that equaled out to like an hour, so we'll be a little over our
Well, it's
hour.
12 characters.
12 characters, yeah, something like that.
We don't need to get a buzzer, but
Yeah,
we'll keep it brief.
I don't know, man. I know you. You like to go. You know.
There aren't that many tangents that I have today.
Okay, all right then. So let's start off the lightning round. Let's go with Grow. So yeah, go ahead. Prepare to fight symbols. Yay.
Yeah, sure. He's not playing Prepare to Fight. So thing one about Grow, you do not have to be 104 damage attacks. He only cares about having some multiples that are 4 damage or less.
Sure.
I'm sure that Jasko being Jasko, all of his attacks are going to have multiple or be able to get multiple or something and be 4 damage or less.
Sure.
But he's definitely free to explore the card pool at will to round out the other half of his attack lineup.
Yeah. Yep.
+2/+2 on everything is good, and he is going to need to find cards. A 6 hand size with a discard cost is a real thing.
Yeah.
And maybe you mostly ignore his second knee except when you really need it. But ideally you have some sort. I mean, he can run Balance Fighter, so that's a start.
Yeah, it's a start.
But ideally, you're finding some extra cards. He might even run that Vespera flip card to draw an extra card.
Oh,
just whatever it takes.
Yep.
The biggest thing that sort of stands out to me is he's the first of many 6-handers in this set that has what we would have thought of as like a high vitality. For a long time, it was sort of like the standard was sort of like 627, and there's only one character in this set that is a 627, and everybody else is like 28.
There are no
30.
626s in this set, which is there's no 626s, which is very surprising. Which is surprising.
And no 625s.
Yeah. Hashtag.
So yeah, I mean, he's pretty straightforward, but I think he's someone that seems like kind of sneaky good, where those abilities aren't super sexy, but they can definitely add up in a hurry. So
let's say his E kind of doubles up like Reptile's E, where if your opponent, you can do it on your opponents, and then you just get this giant reversal on them, right? That would carry over.
Tongpu's Assault is a popular call right now.
Okay.
Because that'll feed you the card you need to discard too. Because you pick up the character card, it gets multiple, and then you give it the multiple, and there's 12 at least.
Sure.
And 13 or 14 if you waited later in the turn.
Sure.
He's definitely going to like reversals, because if you think about +2/+2 on everything, but you're trying to play maybe half your lineup is 4 damage, that means that means your attacks are capping out at 6 without other help.
Yep.
And you're probably not one turn killing someone 6 damage at a time. So soften them up on your turn, hold that Tongpu's, or I guess Twin Cyclone can't multiple as a reversal.
Yeah.
But Tongpu's, there might be something else out there in the card pool to sort of threaten them on their turn with lethal once you get them down to that 10 range or whatever.
What someone said too is this might be the best use of Death Charge before it cycles.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
2 small speed pumps, so you can just be making checks, and then all of a sudden it's +2/+4, which that's a big difference.
Yeah, you can kill someone 8 damage at a time. That'll work.
Yeah.
So maybe Rio and Company's card can see one little splash
before it goes.
They ride off into the sunset of the fields of Jasko Eternal.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, lightning round. Going to Ivy.
Yeah. I have them up. If you want me to.
Go for it, man. That's cool.
So 630, all evil life. So little plant man spread. E twice per turn, lose 1 vitality. Reveal the top card of your deck. You may remove it. If you do, add the top card of your discard pile to the top of your deck. And R, twice per turn after an attack with 2 or fewer printed keywords deals damage, gain 2 vitality, you may draw 1 card.
Guile support incoming.
So, right, yeah, I mean, that's sort of the first thing that jumps out, is she shares 2 symbols with Guile, so, like, we do have at least, 1 character that'll kind of carry on this tradition of low keyword count in the, keyword soup era.
Yep, and she shares 2 symbols, and there's a fair amount of that going on here, too, with, like, callbacks to prior Bebop era characters that share 2 symbols with them, so...
And I think that her versus Guile is a little bit of a nightmare. They're both going to be just gaining vitality left and right. Like Guile will gain vitality when he like pumps speed, and then Ivy will gain vitality after Guile's attack hits her. So that's going to take forever.
Yeah.
But I mean, the big thing too is we'll see what her foundations do, but if she has access to like some of she already can play Artifice Avarice.
Yeah.
So, like, being able to, like, stack that twice and just gain just draw, like, 1 billion cards.
Someone mentioned Uniting the Cosmos, like, off symbol in it in her. If you check it, and if you don't use it, you can just stack it back and do it again.
No, none of that. I'm not getting scooped up by Zhanghua.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know. That's what I said to him, too. That's exactly what I said to him.
Dead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told him. That's exactly what I said to him. You don't want to get anything from X because she's gonna give it to you, man.
We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. You're working ahead.
I'm kind of down on Ivy, just on the basis of like this is sort of historically. I mean, she does see some extra cards conditionally, but like a 6 hand size, she doesn't boost damage. She doesn't boost speed.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't really play her attacks easier, although she can like guarantee a 5 or a 6 check. She will sometimes draw cards. I think like right now she's a throw deck until pending her support.
Sure.
Yep. Because you want to guarantee that you're going to hit with those attacks.
There's a lot of life throws that are basically throw and like stun one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We just previewed one.
Mm-hmm.
So she might be like a new generation effort at like Dimitri that's maybe less oppressive but gains more life.
Mm-hmm.
And life, I mean, we've seen Anachorus, even some of the Disro decks, life can survive when it wants to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she could very well be just like, don't die, grind them down. I'm going to cheat the top of my deck, so I'm not even going to like check bad when you have a chance to beat me if I check bad.
Yeah.
I mean, even and on life,
you're going to die to throws.
You could keep stacking like future poolside date.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can keep gaining. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, so I mean, right now she's that kind of deck, and I don't know if she can be anything else and be competitive, but we'll see if her support maybe makes that possible somehow.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She definitely seems like somebody, too, where depending on, like, how many cards you're drawing, like, it'd be nice to have sort of, like, some discard outlets. So, we'll see.
She gets eliminated in the ban
if you start
on
stacking, like, avarices and stuff, like, you're going to have a ton of cards.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right. Moving on to what I've appropriately called him is Jeremy Ray
Junior.
Yeah, so this character has a hidden static, and it says that, Jeremy Ray is going to dojo the heck out of this character.
Yeah.
And that raises a character by, like, at least a full tier.
Yeah, for sure. We got Keefe, kids, if you haven't seen. He's on the board, so you can see all that. Someone had said that this guy was insanely broken, and I'm like, he's once per turn, dude. Read the top static. He's like, oh, I missed that. I'm like, yeah. There's a lot of turn 1 shenanigans being said about him with fatality than anything else after it. So,
the thing is like, are you keeping a 3-attack hand?
Oh, I don't know.
As a 5-hander?
I don't know. Are you? I wouldn't, but
Maybe that's airground smash, and
maybe
you're not playing it twice. You're just playing it for free.
Yeah, maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe. Yeah. I know. My favorite is the Yamato Man Foundation that gives you an X check +2.
Oh, sure.
And just playing that, and then like just sort of YOLOing a like 5 diff on a 4 check. And if you hit it, great. If you don't, like you can commit Keelik. It's a little bit like some of the Ringman stuff, I guess. And if you do pass it, then you can just hit the E's and pick it back up, throw it again. I mean, one of the biggest stuff is like some of the Jetta things. I know like Sanguine, like Sacrificial or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, if you're playing that and you don't have foundations yet, then sure.
Either does your opponent.
Basically, like completely like, you know, debuild like a bunch of stuff your opponent played, get some damage in, and then build yourself, and like that's a pretty good way to start a game.
I heard distraction was a negative play experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now it's on a 2 check.
Yeah, now it's on a 2 diff. Yeah. Who cares?
So
yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, you could see flying Yamato Spear again. You know, it's a safe attack. Where I mean, 6i6, 6i6, and then loop it back again. Sure. Yeah.
But, the grand scheme of things is definitely going to, as sort of really cool as his abilities are and all the cool things you think you can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
He does help. He can play like some meteor attacks than you would otherwise be able to play, and that's kind of like an effective damage bonus because you're getting better stats for your money. And he does get like an extra card that's going to be an attack, so he's better positioned than like Ivy on that sort of barometer. But he's still like a 5-hand size. He's not making his attacks throws. He doesn't give speed.
Yeah. He doesn't give speed, damage, anything.
Yeah.
If they can block well, you might have a tough time killing them. So Yamato Spear is probably going to be a really good call because that's got the nice base speed of 6.
Yep.
And a couple copies and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is like, obviously, you know, his E's are, you know, 3 or fewer, like 6 or fewer. So it's a little bit like the Raiden stuff.
Yeah.
Of, you know, his readying 3 foundations. Like, there's probably going to be a point in the game where like you really can't use those anymore. They also don't do you any good on defense. Just because they reduce difficulty.
Yeah.
And like with blocking, like block mod isn't difficulty. So
none of these abilities are defensive at all.
Yeah.
And you are a 5-hand size on defense unless that card you picked up is something you want to block with.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So he'll be interesting. Like obviously that R is very, very strong. It'll just sort of turn into what it is that you're sort of like picking up. And I guess it'll come down to like what you really, how you're managing your staging area to see if you're actually going to continue to use those E's or, you know, if it's something that's just helping you like early in the game.
Yeah. Well, because you probably can't really stick at 3 a whole game. I would not think.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe if you're on the Sangu Yamato Spear plan, you could.
Yeah.
But, you're going to go up to 6, and now like one of your abilities is gone, and the other one's just kind of okay, and you're basically just your R at that point. But you know he shares 2 with Raiden. Sealer of Evil's a pretty good card.
Yeah.
When you're just keeping under 6,
True.
And you're sort of a tanky 5-hand size. He'll get to leverage that stuff to some extent.
He does have with his support. He gets God of Thunder too, so he can build up over 6 and then quickly debuild himself down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he shares 2 symbols with Raiden, so like, you know, he definitely is going to have like other foundations that, you know, will contribute to that. But
sure,
yeah.
All right, moving on. We got to keep this fast. Lightning round, kids. We got Maxi.
We're making good time.
We are. I'm not actually timing it. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to just keep.
We've done 3 characters in 10 minutes. We're good.
Look at that. That's not that bad.
I mean, we talked a lot about Maxi with his foundation.
Yeah.
And he's sort of a very interesting thing, you know, like the discarding the momentum to get +1/+3.
Yep.
And you
they really like that number.
Foundation has been
1 and
ready.
3. They really do.
Huh?
They've when they do damage and speed pump together, it's always like this weird like 1 speed 3 damage because who else had it? Oh, Ken had it too. And then like
or 3 speed and 1 damage.
I would take that. I would definitely take 3 speed and 1 damage.
This is this is independently like you forget about all of his support or whatever. That's a pretty good rate for 1 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not everything can be missile launcher. And you're getting a ready and a speed and 3 damage. Even rivals missile launcher with the kinds of stats that you get for a momentum there.
Very true. I think we need to have a counter for how many times you say missile launcher.
I was going to say that. You need to do that in post and just have like the missile launcher count. Ding.
Yeah. I don't have that much time. I need to get this done before I go to bed. But yeah, whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, that's a good rate for a momentum, and he generates momentum on his own. So it feels like even if he didn't have a silly like turbocharging foundation, he almost can't be bad unless his stats just inherently, put him under.
Yeah.
Like if you can survive as a 720 on one of these symbols, just like functionally ward off the decks, and if this set slows decks down a little bit because you can't just be like all in YOLO turn 2 anymore because Ja or Sofichi will just shut you down or whatever. I could definitely see Maxi doing pretty well, especially if someone like iterates on it and puts the effort into it, and really gets to like version 4, version 5, version 6 of the deck.
Yeah,
I mean, having that E on defense too, like, isn't terrible.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of stuff with you look at like Faye, to just kind of get some of that like defensive momentum to spend. I mean, I guess he has air, so like you can do like Shaolin Fighter.
Peaceful coexistence.
Honestly, I think a ton of Maxi is going to be how many tools he sort of has to kind of like add stuff up and either like not have them counter progressive or be able to like clear them out, either whether it's like to pay for stuff or if it's like effects. I mean, obviously we saw his foundation that just comes back down. But if he has like attacks that'll do it for other stuff, like that's sort of the big question I have for him.
He'll never have a problem activating Bebop Blues.
Yes.
Very true.
He also shares 2 with Secret History, which could be relevant.
I mean, that's pretty good on reversal too. Like, So, I know when I first saw him, like the first thing I thought was to play him with Power Flip and like Carrying on the Legacy and Breaking Bread, and then just turn it into like, when you're adding stuff up and then like bringing it back down, like you get that momentum, and then you get another momentum and like a minus progressive. So I don't know if like those like just those 4 is like really enough to go all in on that, but that's certainly just like sort of one of the meme dreams.
Yeah, my brain turns off when I hear Breaking Bread. Just like let me know when it's a real thing.
All right.
Dude, that card's awesome.
Okay, so
I'm glad people like it because I designed it, but it's just
All right, so we're done with Maxi, right? We've gone over him, so we're going Mitsurugi. Here's our weapon character. One of our other weapon characters in the set.
He's the only weapon character in Soul Calibur.
No, there's a couple other ones, but I guess he's another weapon character who's going to focus in on it. So we get some support. He plays SRK really, really well. Shirayukan, he plays that card very, very well.
Hopefully his support is just 3 more SRKs.
Yeah, I guess that
because
would be
he needs it. Yeah. I mean, my goodness. I'm very low on Mitsurugi.
Okay,
and I could be wrong. And maybe his support is 3 more SRKs. But both of those abilities are 5+, and you will possibly never commit to for the first one.
For sure.
So you don't want to run any non-stun attacks. You can run some non-weapons, whatever, but you want all of your tech staff stun, which is fine. He has 2 jet symbols. He can play Missile Launcher.
Yes, he can.
And he will.
Bing!
He can play, but when you start looking at like the other stun attacks, the ones that you can get to double without his enhance, Takeda's Kunai almost gets there. There's not enough that sort of conveniently fits what he wants to be doing. Granted, you only need to get something to double once a turn to activate his other E. But he's going to need his support to carry this, so that you're running the attacks he wants to be running, but they are also still good if you don't get his +3 damage.
Sure.
But those attacks, that's a pretty good attack that you have to be for like everyone else. If you're still happy if you miss a +3 damage, but you're still getting your damage doubled.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
he works on multiples then, right? Since it's printed 0, so whatever damage it is, it's over double, right? Or is that be exactly double? It's at least double.
It says at least double. So anybody who uses a multiple, they're just cutting a card for it, and that's probably like that might be sort of his like secret strength is like if he can survive a turn in which he activated his E and then activate his E again in his turn. That's two discard activations, which is probably going to leave them pretty open. So if you do hit your 5s, but you're going to want to like build a staging area first so you can commit 2 when you need to. And
I mean, I guess that's actually kind of cool with his E. Is using it like on your opponents. Like as long as you have a low block, I mean, just sort of telling your opponent like, okay, well, that's double. It's low. I have this low block. Discard a card. Like
or even if you're just like, we're never going to block it to begin with.
That's true.
Like, you know, all right, whatever.
Make
Pay a card for this.
Yeah.
That Sub-Zero Foundation's a low block. The one that Jeremy Ray liked and I hated. But if you could pass that as a block after they double their damage, you make them discard 2 cards. That's pretty cool.
I gotta say, like, I felt like a lot better about this guy, and then someone's like, yeah, you know, those are both like 5+. And I was like,
that's pretty costly.
Yeah,
that's
he doesn't.
That's rough.
Maybe his weapon attacks
to like
stun
Sub-Zero
already.
or to Jet, and you feel kind of bad about both, but he does a little bit more than either one does in different ways.
Sure.
It's still hard to imagine playing Mitsurugi when you could just be Jet.
Yeah.
But if you got great low blocks or you think you've got a plan for that, then maybe the discard.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like when he's hitting his checks, like it's going to be scary.
Oh, he'll be good when he checks the 5s.
Like,
Astral Vision is a weapon, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, it is.
You have to give it speed.
Yeah, you have to get its speed somehow, but it can get stunned and then it can get damage. So
so he's missing a piece of a puzzle for basically like everything.
Yeah, it's really so maybe his support. Maybe he'll be like a Cassie Cage with the set.
Even like Shirai Ryukan, you need to like pass the 5 to give it stun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. All right.
You know who's not missing a lot of pieces?
This guy. This guy is.
So he's a 629 for some reason. I'm not totally clear why.
Yeah.
So he's got a static, which is your face-up attacks, printed damage exactly double their printed speed, get +2. Now that's important because he doesn't pump multiples.
It's printed speed.
And R once per turn after your blocked attack resolves, add it to your hand. So this is like Quetzal. Who hasn't been doing anything recently.
So what happens if you block a multiple and he uses his R on the multiple?
Like I was curious about that. I was wondering if we would see that at all in the PTC. Because that guy was running like Coffee Samba, Dark. Like that seemed like super cool. Of just like because you should know what the multiple copies are.
Yeah.
So like if they block one of them and that's what you want,
you can take it back. Yeah. So you can do that with him. Okay.
And then the E is almost like it feels like almost a tack on. If it's blocked. They discard the top 3 and like lose 1 for each attack discard this way. Like I wouldn't be counting it. Like that's almost just something that you like kind of just throw onto stuff, and then especially at the end, it can just make things like.
What's funny is we just did a symbol series thing for the staging area on Death, and Death's thing is Vitality Burn, and he doesn't have the Death symbol. So why does he have this? Jasco, you're killing us, man.
Well, he's got fire and evil, so
that's not part of that strat, though.
The E almost feels like a flavor thing.
Yeah, like, it's got to be a flavor thing.
It's Nightmare. He should feel like a scumbag that's doing like evil things to you.
Yeah.
I thought
well, he's returning missile launcher to his hand.
No. But how is this guy with missile launcher, Tim?
Ding.
Yeah. I mean, pick what do you want. So what? The first one will be 3 low for 12 stun 2. Because block it, and then I'll play it again as a 7 low 8 stun 2. Or hey, I'll just make it 3 low 12 again. You got another block? I mean, I'm gonna stun you 2 more.
Yeah.
Another one. Maybe he has a 2 check. I feel bad for that 2 check if he has one.
Yeah, for me probably.
But at least he only shows 1 with missile launcher, right? And there's like some reasons to play Nightmare off of his other symbols.
Yeah. Like From Hell's
Evil From Hell's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Takedown has fire, but that's part of the evil picture. Chaos has Woodman's Leaf Shield. Gyro Drive Smasher is pretty funny.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, that seems neat.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I think it's kind of interesting with some of the like flash attacks that he can play. I think Conch Blast is like double.
Yeah, it's a 4 high 8.
Damage is double speed, right? Isn't it like 8 damage and like 4 speed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think your R is going to work on that, though. Because it'll get kicked before the
R. I got you. Yeah.
Which is still, you know what? My Conch Blasts are 10 damage. I'll use the R on something else.
That's true. The other one, though, that I think he has, 2 symbols with, right? Because I think it's Evil and Fire, is Cole 45. Which, I mean, I don't know if you want to play that a lot, because then they just draw a bunch of cards. But, man, if they don't have a high block, well, I guess if they don't have a high block, it's hidden. So
Yeah, for sure.
And if they do, they can try again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
We'll see. I'm kind of interested in seeing if his support plays with Daddy in some weird, unique way that we can't see just looking at the character.
Yeah.
Maybe you are stacking there
after they lose vitality, they lose an extra, something like that. I don't know. Because the opponent's going to decide the order, so
right.
I don't think they're going to be able to do anything like that. But maybe just actually trying to low key mill them out.
I can say the biggest thing with him is a lot of his pretty much all of his abilities, maybe not so much the R, but the other ones just feel like roll snafus waiting to happen. I mean, I guess after you play him long enough, you're gonna remember okay, this attack gets the 2 damage, this one doesn't. But early on, there's definitely gonna be stuff oh, I forgot to put the +2 on that.
Yeah.
It's because the speed and the damage are half. And then the E as well, I know with at least out of this set, Sophitia is the E goes and then it's just sitting there hanging out. So as soon as they block, they mill before anything else. So you'll make the check to block, the block will happen, the mill will happen, and then Sophitia has an R that's after she blocks, and so you have to mill the cards before she starts making checks.
Yeah,
and that just seems like something that's gonna be out of order at some point. But
sure,
yeah,
that's why you play at home and figure it out, or just get judge damaged.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying, it's sort of just some tricky interactions that you'd like as few as possible. So.
Sure, no, I get you. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to playing this guy at locals. I have two guys who want to play him. So
yeah, I'm sort of holding on to hope that he's a little overhead, because the game plan against Hoitzon, we saw this in the finals, is to kind of
not
just
block.
Ignore him.
Yeah, just don't block until you have to.
Yeah, just ignore him and deal him 38 before he kills you with his 4 hand size. Now, obviously, Nightmare's going to be a lot better at killing someone who's just ignoring him, because he's 6 hand size and +2 damage. But at the same time, when you need to block, at least you're not taking half.
Yeah.
So you can maybe hold out and wait a little bit longer before you start being oh boy, I need to start blocking things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to Siegfried. This guy's pretty sweet, or as I call him, Siegfried Bogard, because he basically is Terry with no cost. So
yeah, let's take the 2 mechanics that we've known Miles Tyler to play and put them on a so I hope he enjoys this.
Yeah.
The R is free though.
Yes, it
goes
free.
In ready.
Oh
it's
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, and we saw with his foundation we previewed. He's gonna return it. You can just loop those things back and forth if you need to, which is pretty sweet.
I mean, there definitely are some pretty good +1, +2 foundation blocks.
Oh yeah.
I mean, right on good. I mean, you have
police connections.
Yep. You have Poker Alice. I mean, I don't know if you're just running Poker Alice for the block, but maybe.
Certainly running Cool and Focus.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh definitely.
Invincible Iron Body's not a completely irrelevant card. That's something you might run.
Oh yeah.
Lord knows there'll probably be more in this set. Siegfried will probably have one, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if he has a +0 block on some blank foundation or something.
It'll be interesting, I guess, whether or not you really do any kind of off symbol stuff. I know people talk about that, and as you already said, with Zhanghua, that could be really devastating. So you probably don't. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter at all with chaining or whatnot. So he could block with an only an earth card when you're on a good deck, and it'll still build.
Yeah.
I know Terry did when Miles played him a lot. He would have cards that were
Oh yeah.
Well, this is an all card, but I won't. He, like for instance, because he brought down like assets.
Yeah.
So he would like block with a
like a nail bit or something like that, or saw blades, something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, that, and then like the E is like a 4+, so eat your heart out,
Mitsuru.
But yeah, like what, +3 or -2, and then, well, like that's the other thing too, is like it can't receive any more bonuses or penalties. Like so this doesn't mean it can't be altered. It just means that like anything that says plus or minus, like that, like those won't apply.
Yeah, it can be reset. Yep.
You can reset it. Like you could, like for like cats, like you can double it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I'm pretty sure like powerful and EX are both
bonuses,
technically bonuses, right?
Yep.
Okay. So none of that.
Yeah. So other than the foundation, we talked about the flip stuff a bit. It's he's going to be one of the more support dependent guys with just like how realistic is getting them into the chokehold. Can you actually? Are his cards good enough to be running enough of them, and or do they add up enough with what's out there with the Hikara Foundation and some of War for Armageddon? Like right now, all that stuff's on Earth. So right now, it almost feels like he's locked into Earth unless his support can do it without the existing Earth stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, Earth is definitely like the sort of like flip. Simple.
He does not feel bad blocking with overly dramatic. Like if you have to block with it, that's not horrible. That's pretty cool, I guess. And then
I mean, Void does give him like Fei to help him block with some of these foundations with Earth, which Earth doesn't really help him block with his foundations, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like his R works better off of maybe Good or Void, but his E works better off of Earth.
Yep.
So hopefully his support sort of bridges.
I was looking for I was building a Void deck, like we were talking pre-show, like I have that Ken deck. I was like, I wanted to build a Void deck and then slap a character on it. And actually he would be very good to throw on top of it because, you have like Face of a Monster, you have TK Mastery. You have ways to reduce speed on that symbol and then block with foundations, bring them down. Like, that's great. Like, if you have to hold a Face of a Monster, block, bring it down, you have a whole new set of abilities to use during that turn. He can be one of those characters that can just flash in stuff that you have to kind of account for. That if he's holding like 3 cards, you got to assume, well, he's probably going to block with 2 foundations, bring him down, and then save one to just for the killing blow if he needs to, But
all of a sudden he has a confronting Jada that you weren't expecting, and then the kill turns over.
Yeah,
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can have one down there, use it, block with one, bring it down, blow up the one you've used, and use it again. Yeah, that's he's gonna have some pretty neat interactions for sure. I
guess like that's the thing is pretty much everything about him though is like, oh man, like his defense is so good.
Yeah,
and like there have definitely not been as many like it feels like a lot of the recent characters are much more focused on like this person like kills well.
Yeah.
And this guy is sort of like on the other end. And I guess, we talked about like Earth and Good. I mean, he has access to pretty much all of the best deadlock abilities like in the game. So like that can certainly help him if he just like if he if he
709 unless you
honestly, even some of the other jet stuff, like you probably don't feel bad about whatever the one is that like lets you like look at their hand, or
is that Relentless Pursuit? That one? Is that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Relentless,
Relentless,
and I'll pick up a foundation, which he's fine picking up a foundation off of that card.
Yeah.
It can only draw you a foundation, but Siegfried's like, okay.
Yeah, he's a cool block. Same thing with the ISSP Grapple too, right? That picks up a foundation too, but I don't know if you're going to play it because Jet makes better use of it, but yeah.
Yeah. But but yeah, I just think like he might sort of be maybe almost like a newer like Woodman, where he just kind of goes like, I'm going to deadlock, like I'm going to keep building, I'm going to keep playing foundations, and like if you basically like I'm going to flip all your stuff, and if you want to keep up, like you're going to have to build into deadlock as well, and then like it starts to get interesting if he like.
Don't forget we said that he's gonna be really good with White House, so he doesn't have to worry about weird ass actions or anything like that. And then he's +1 hand size on defense for the most part if he builds a foundation. So
So yeah, I mean, he has like a lot of interesting tools, and it'll be sort of how it all fits together.
Sure. Moving on to best girl.
Oh, do you guys want to fight over this one?
Nah, Tim, you can go ahead, man. It's all you.
Oh, what, you want me to read her?
Oh, you can. No, you don't have to. We can start talking. She's gonna be up on the screen, so we can just talk.
So, this is another in the line of strong defensive characters in this set.
Mm-hmm.
She has the free +B -B, which we saw in a few characters in Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers, only with like Morgan and Guile. Those were kind of their main abilities. Like they had other abilities that were relevant.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of just the beginning of what Sofitia does. Because also, if something deals less than printed for whatever reason, it could be a partial block. It could just be you reduce the damage. It could be they blocked you or partial blocked you or reduced your damage. You get to point commit something.
Sure.
And that's certainly, we keep talking about foundations keep getting better. The more good foundations there are, the better point committal is going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there will be more really good foundations in this set. So that can be really potent. And then her response just doubles up on that. And anytime an attack is blocked, partial or full, point commit something. That's not a 4+, so you might have to commit one yourself in the name of fairness. But yeah, it's notable she does not give damage, which is sort of interesting with regards to her symbol spread because life kind of has a trouble killing people, honestly. So we'll see if this set changes that.
Mm-hmm.
Off of Order, she has obvious Frosthammer lines. Off of Earth, she has obvious good stuff, just play missile launcher lines.
Ding. Yeah.
And especially and off of Earth, and I'm sure there's some other stuff that I'm not thinking of. Nutcracker and her is great.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're playing against a female, which is going to happen more often now.
Yeah.
So it's worth noting your Nutcracker's got a little bit worse. Everybody.
Yeah. Are there more females in this set than males, or is it equal?
Well, I mean, the field's not 80% male anymore.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
Whatever happens, there's going to be certainly more females running around.
Yeah.
But in Sofitia, if you're not getting the +4, you're still very, very happy with a +2 mid-breaker 2.
Yes.
Because she can pass that block, and when she passes, if it's full, it's breaker 2, point commit something. If it's partial, it's breaker 2, point commit 2 things. Please continue your turn.
Yeah.
Have fun. You got through the breaker. Okay, you're still down 2 foundations. Now there's another card in your card pool.
Yeah, for sure.
So any sort of breaker is going to be really good for her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like Siegfried, only it's not as uphill for her, I don't think, is going to be making sure she can kill people. Mm-hmm. Siegfried sort of has the problem where if they're not choked, they can just start flipping stuff, and now you have no offense.
Yeah.
She at least gives the speed. She probably going to get some things that are like your defensive pieces. So she should have an easier time securing the kill with whatever you're doing.
Sorry.
Okay.
See, so something like the big difference between her and Siegfried to me is like Siegfried is almost like, it's a little bit like slow, or it's a little bit like more difficult, I guess, but it's like permanent.
Yeah.
Whereas like Sofitia kind of has to like start over every turn, but like it's gonna be real easy for her to just if she blocks like 2 attacks, like she can like tap out like half of your staging area.
Yeah.
And like you're presumably going to be running things like
$500
sunglasses.
Yeah.
I mean, on Order in Life, you get whatever that, like Fates Intertwined or whatever out of Indians.
Oh yeah.
Whenever like they play an R, you can like target tap something. I know we talked about like potentially even running like Showdown. Her like speed reduction makes that a lot more attractive than it is for a lot of other characters now.
Yep.
And I mean. Like, imagine just like reducing something and then just basically target, like, commit to a Showdown, commit one with her E, commit one with the R, like, you
turns
tap
over
4 foundations for 1 block.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. She also has a confronting Jetta symbol too, so confronting Jetta isn't horrible in her too. If you have to take, if you go the life route.
Yeah. Like she's definitely like interesting. Like I don't know how like sort of as Tim said, like how she's killing people yet. But she's going to be very frustrating to play against. And she's sort of similar to some of these other characters where it seems like a lot of the, like, basically the way people sort of deal with this, like, deadlock threat is they just go, like, I'm going to park at, like, 9 or 10 foundations and then just, like, be terrified to go over it. And if you think you're going to do that and get away with it against Sophidia, like, you're not. Unless your attacks are absolutely massive or really, really fast, you know, she's going to make you, like, at some point you're just going to be, like, failing checks because you don't have enough foundations to pass it. And so that's the thing is, like, some of these characters, like, it seems like are like much more likely to sort of like start to edge you into deadlock if you want to continue to compete. And, you know, we'll sort of see where, I mean, obviously for her symbols, like, Guile just got, like, a little bit on his attacks for the, like, life and order, but those symbols are pretty weak in deadlock. So, obviously, you know, we're back to earth with, you know, Jet's deadlock suite.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if you're looking for a way to kill people, like, starting with overly dramatic and missile launcher, and, you know, some of those other stuff is like
Shirito and Nutcracker is like that. That's the Trinity, the Earth Good, Jet symbol Trinity.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, I just, you know, for now, like, I don't see a whole lot, like, sort of like cracking its way into that kind of stuff. You know, for a lot of these characters, like, when you look at their symbol spreads and you just see someone that has, like, an Earth or a Good, like, you almost just go, okay, like, what am I seeing on their other symbols that is, like,
better than what
attractive enough that I'm not gonna, like, that I'm gonna forgo playing these cards?
Sure.
Yeah, and if you're looking at their support, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna need 2 other attacks in my deck, so let's see.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. So.
All right. Moving on to Taki.
Also,
go ahead.
Chris, it is 4 female characters in the set and 8 males.
Oh, it seems like it's more females. Oh, okay. Wow. All right, cool. Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
Rob with the good info. So we're moving on to Taki now. Can we say...
Dude, I like Taki a lot.
Okay, so really, if you think about it, if this was the secret set that was supposed to come out after Mortal Kombat, she is in line of beating Liu Kang. Like, you know, so if it was, so...
Yeah,
so
man,
it just seems like
Cassie would have been terrible.
Oh yeah. Well, according to you, she still is. So.
Well, right, but you know, everyone else would have believed it too.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, I think we were talking about her pre-show. Like, she's one of the more interesting characters, just because when do you fire that R off? You know, like, you have to time it right and all that stuff. She is a pseudo 7-hander because she gets to draw a card after she fires her R, but she has to block for, you know, it has to be after attack is blocked first. So,
well, I mean, in some ways she's a pseudo 8.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just because, like, if you're attacking, like, and you find yourself in a position where you're gonna, like, fire off the R. I mean, so the R, like, offensively is gonna be interesting. You know, it'll be sort of like, first of all, they have to block your stuff. So, like, I guess that's the big thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you have sort of like these decks that are counting on your opponent, like, blocking something so you can discard a bunch of cards, like, you might be disappointed. Like, you're, depending on if they know what you're doing, like, they are going to kind of, like, look for other ways to, like, prevent you from, like, sweeping a card pool. Like, maybe they'll block early and try to damage reduce late, or, you know, who knows.
No, like, could she benefit, like, I'll say, like, off of, like, a sadistic ways where she sets it up, plays it, multiples it out. They block one of the multiples and you clear it.
To me, like,
she does not want
to play multiples, because the problem is like, if you trigger it on, like, the first, like, if
you wouldn't trigger it until like the third one, of course.
You use the R, your multiples are gone.
Well, no, I'm saying you trigger it like after, say, because they're probably gonna try. Well, they'll probably block early anyways, right?
Yeah, you just don't like just block, like, you don't block the last multiple.
Yeah, you just block early and then you get okay.
So that's the thing, though, is like, on the flip side, like, other than, like, Dark Chirito, like, she's amazing against multiples.
Yeah, true.
Because if they use the multiple, all you have to do is block the base attack and then trigger her R and sweep card pools, and you've gotten rid of, like, you know, like anywhere from like 1 to 3 attacks. Like that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, her abilities sort of seem like deceptively simple for like how strong they are. She is like practically immune to getting reversaled. If like because the R window for reversal and for her response are the same. I mean, so on the one hand, you could have something where they block and you go, okay, I'm going to use the R. You sweep everything, and they just go, haha, well, thanks a lot. I'm going to play a reversal in my empty card pool. But if you wait and they try to reversal you first, then you can trigger her R, and their reversal is going to get kicked before it even happens.
Yeah, you just if you're facing Zhanghua, you just hold that R over her head all game.
Yep.
And you're just like, I'm just gonna when you use your R, I'll use mine, and we'll start this over. Okay.
Yeah. And that works well with her E as well. Like it seems a little restrictive. Like if this is the only attack in a card pool, to me it's a little bit like Talbane, where he's like, I can only pump the first attack that I play.
Yeah.
And so for her, like obviously for her first attack, like she can make it fast. But if there's a way that she can discard stuff, obviously her R, if there's a way she can flip stuff, we talked about Akuma's Foundation, where after an attack resolves, like turn it face down. Well, once you do that, it's a face down card. It's not an attack anymore. Mm-hmm. So, like, you can give your next attack +3 speed. If you're using it against your opponent and you flip their attack, you can give their second attack, like, -3 speed. And, obviously, if you block clear card pools and they attack again, you can give that -3 speed. So, really, that E on, like, kind of, like, more involved attack turns, like, you should be getting it at least twice.
Sure.
Definitely on defense. And, hers will be very, like, it'll be interesting to see, like, kind of the card pool manipulation that she ends up having to, sort of see how relevant that E is. And then, the R, like, it'll kind of be like, what is there to kind of bait your opponent into blocking the attack that you want them to block? Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's the sort of the most interesting thing for her is the degree to which that R just is going to undercut certain decks really badly.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Akuma, Cassie, also Zhanghua, Sasalamel wants no part of this. And then that E, free speed. This is +3, -3. Again, lots of characters are doing that on every attack now at least 2. She'll get it on a couple of attacks at 3, and to make up for not getting it on everything, she has that response. So,
yep. Yeah,
should be good.
All right, to the one character that everyone seems to be afraid of. So,
yeah, here. All you really need to know about this character is, like, it's a 7-hander with 19 vitality.
Yeah.
Like, Quan Chi had 20 vitality, guys.
Yeah.
Now, that may have been a mistake.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Zhanghua, air, void, water. Then, yeah, the big thing, R twice per turn. After an attack is blocked, you may play one attack with a printed damage of 3. No check necessary. After this attack resolves, you may not play a reversal to this attack. So the thing is
so I got a question real quick. So is her like gimmick in the game like a bunch of like parry counter? Is that like, does she counter people really well? Is that what are they trying to?
She's sort of a mix-up character. She does have a couple moves where she has like a stance where it's kind of annoying to hit her. Like she'll go down to the ground or whatever and then come back up and hit you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I think the feel is pretty good here.
Okay. Because I was wondering if they tried to translate it from the game.
You can't just look at, like, every time there's a mix-up character in a fighting game, you can't just be like, oh, they're just going to do high zone, low zone things, right?
Yeah.
So this is a pretty good representation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the other thing, too, is, like, she's definitely, like, more of, like, almost like a fast, like, jabby character. And, like, so that's sort of represented with that 3 or less. And just, right, like, if you block one thing, like there's another thing coming. If you block that, there's another thing coming.
Yeah.
Like it just really sort of
she just
feel
comes
that kind of
at
like pressure
you don't
string.
really know what's coming next because of the mix-ups.
Yeah.
And now like you don't know what's coming next because there could be some 7 difficulty 3 damage attack somehow, and she's just it's free, whatever. It's got some crazy effect.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing about this though is like it says after on attack is blocked. It doesn't say your attack. So I mean, and that's why obviously it says you may not play a reversal. Like, so you can block your opponent's attack and then just play any 3 damage move.
Windmill punch.
Like, for free.
Even if it was never in a million worlds meant to be a reverse.
Yes.
So here comes the big one to keep in mind is single barrel.
Yeah,
I've got 2
single
symbols
barrel.
with her.
Yeah. Single barrel's
you're
a
going to
big
get
one.
stun 1 and a card's going in your card pool.
Yep.
And if
hopefully
you're
it
off-symboling
follows your chain.
anything, your turn's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, off-symboling Revoke just got scary.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah, it did.
It can be Ice Ball's another popular one that she shares 2 with.
Mm-hmm.
It is a 3 mid 3 stun 1, so you're getting stun 2'd.
Yep.
And if you block it, she can play another attack for free. If you don't block it, your character gets sealed and committed. So pick your poison.
That sounds so much fun.
The other attack she plays for free will also get an additional stun from her twice per turn.
At least she can't play Missile Launcher. That's a plus right there. That's a plus.
She can totally play Windmill Punch.
Yeah, she can. She
will just kill you.
Yep, she can.
Well, you say, you know what? I'm going to block this Ice Ball. Okay, Windmill Punch.
Yeah.
Okay. The
the Lilith. There's a Lilith card
she's
too,
gonna
right?
have support. It will probably be good for her.
The important thing too also is that it's printed 3.
Yeah.
Because I guess they, you know, in their moment of clarity, they were like, whoa, guys, we can't have people playing like reversal, like Arulophobia. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it's not 3 or less. It is not 3 or less.
It's 3. So, but they're carrying on the 3 damage thing again. So you could play some of the the Lilith cards. Like you got Swallow Your Soul. You can play.
Oh man, I forgot. Yeah. She can also play Flip Cat.
Oh yes, she can.
I know that has made no impact so far, but that's a pretty good one. You know, all of a sudden it's up to like 8 damage.
Yeah.
Stun 1, sure.
You have 2 momentum. You play the Flip Cat. You want to block this? You can bet I have Windmill Punch. You're not blocking it. You're not going to block the Flip Cat. You can't.
Bad, bro.
Oh my god, this character just scared the shit out of me right now. Wow. All I want to do is have fun, man.
The question with her and the question with a lot of these defensive characters in this set, when push comes to shove and they get on the battlefield and Hoitzel or Goro are just marching on them without giving a care in the world.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah.
Can they hold up to that? How the heck is Zheng He actually going to kill Goro 3 damage at a time?
Yeah.
That's sort of the big concern here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure.
Windmill punches 4 damage effectively, but that's you've got a lot of hits you have to land on Goro before you're going to kill him like that.
Mm-hmm. What was there was something else.
Now I'm interested in see how the 3 damage moves.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
I mean, she also can do like Liu Kang's Fireball.
Are we going to assume that all of her attacks
clog up the card with face downs?
We're going to assume all of her attacks are 3 damage, right?
Oh, there's no way.
Yeah.
All of her attacks will be 3 damage.
They're at least going to be printed 3.
Yeah, printed 3. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, no, the other one was the Fei Long Foundation. Action Superstar.
Oh, Action Superstar? Oh, yeah.
Like, that thing's sweet. Like,
nice.
If you just want to telegraph that, like, you're about to just, like, play some stuff for free on them, you know, you can just sort of be like, oh, you're playing an attack, like, my next 3 or less gets +3 damage, and if it's a combo, it gets stun 1. Oh, my next one gets, like, just block.
Oh, look, it's a Windmill Punch.
It's stun 2. Yeah. Yep. That's nuts. Yeah. Heaven forbid, like, they block with an attack. You know, and it's just like, oh god, then you get wrecked.
Takeda's kunai gets, if you blocked with an attack and then played the free kunai, that's going to be stun 3 total.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, she's going to be wild.
Yeah, if your plan is to play 4 attacks in a turn, I hope you have a plan B. Zheng He is probably not going to allow you to do that.
Yeah. 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 So maybe that's why like a lot of the characters are seeming more like they will follow like a throw type attack lineup because at least you're dealing that.
A throw where like characters that are like there's more characters that are sort of expecting to play a back and forth game.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's some characters that are going to kind of force a back and forth game.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is when that gets onto the tournament floor against the characters that have no interest whatsoever in a back and forth game, who's going to win out?
Now, Tim.
Yes.
You can use her R even if the attack is safe, correct?
Yeah, safe does nothing against her. You just
cool.
Yeah. She doesn't care.
No one is safe.
So you could okay, so this is cool. You could technically play a skull barrier to a safe attack with that, right? 'Cause it's 3 damage.
Oh yeah.
And then you can pitch it. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yep. Yeah, so she's probably going to run that.
You can't like block and replay it, I assume.
Yeah.
But you can just have it in your hand.
Okay, and then just be like, well, I'm going to play it. Cool. All right.
And I passed the check automatically.
Yeah.
Yes, you were scared of that.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat. She's gonna have obviously she's gonna want to play some defensive cards, because I don't know
if you want. That doesn't sound fun.
But I mean, we're saying in the Discord before, and maybe this will change a little bit with some of these characters, but right now I feel like where you want to be if you're not just sort of all out march at them aggro. You probably want to be a deck where you can dedicate most of your deck to defense and your attack lineup or your character
will carry it.
Maybe like you only need a couple foundations to carry your offense because you kind of need that level of defense to survive the linear character stuff. The Raptors, the Akumas, the non-linear stuff, the Evil Desperation, the Missile Launcher lineups.
Yep. Ding.
Etc. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, I had to do it. But yeah. All right. So are we done with X gonna give it to you? So,
we are.
Okay, cool. She's also the meme character, I believe, right? Is that what you said? That she's the meme?
I mean, it definitely seems that way,
Like she's the meme character. Yeah.
Honestly, if I was going to pick a character out of this that, like, I'm most concerned is, like, going to turn into, like, the next, like, Liu Kang, it's definitely her.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
But it'll be, like, the opposite kind of Liu Kang, where it's not that it'll be... thing is, like, it won't be as oppressive as Quan Chi. That's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So it'll be like a defensive deck that's like a disruptive defensive deck more so than a like I can't deal reasonable damage to this person.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be fine, and if like it makes people mad, then they need to stop. They need to learn how to play back and forth games.
Yeah, and I think that actually may come into effect with like a lot of the newer play groups because they're so used to this linear aggro,
it's
and
just like I have 4 orange cards. I'm going to play 4 orange cards.
Yeah, like us in Rockford, we're night and day compared to like the Chicago guys. They're all aggro. They obviously that shows it. They topped with Huitzel and Goro and Shadow Man / Raptor. They're all about the offense. Like back here in Rockford, us old timers. Yes, we're old timers now. Are about the back and forth counterplay. Like. A lot of us play that mid range.
Like lacking, or at least it's been like under supported.
Yes, the mid range game is what I think was what it's appropriately called is like the mid game because usually there was no mid game. There was early game and deadlock.
Yet, even then, like that's one of the few characters, maybe not so few, but one of the characters coming out recently that does want to play that kind of game. To some extent, Cassie Cage wins the big PTC, wins Nat, so it's still good.
Yes.
Those characters, those decks are few and far between now, and maybe Soul Calibur will change that.
Sure. All right, so the final character, Yoshimitsu.
Final?
It's not the final.
No? Oh, we have Zazamel, too. Sorry. My bad.
The alphabet goes all the way to Z.
He's not in this. He's not in this post that Kevin had. He probably added it to it.
Yes, you have to click the load more images.
Oh come on, damn it! There's one more. There we go. Sorry, Zazamel.
Yoshimitsu. Is super weird to me.
It's very weird. Yes.
Like it's just like
rightly so.
5-hander, but he has like 29 health. Like I basically like look at him, and then I look at like Ivy. And I just kind of like scratch, I'm just, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of one of those things, like, I guess we'll see what his support is. Like, he seems like one of those characters where it's like, what was happening? Like, you look at him, you're like, what was going on? Like, what was happening in games where, like, these are the stats that were like, yep, that's what we want.
Do you, like, so one thing that kind of jumps out at me is that we're getting more weapon foundations from this guy. There's no I would assume so. Maybe.
I guess. Like,
I mean, if you look over like the last few sets and look for foundations that just sort of arbitrarily have traits on them, Jason likes arbitrarily putting traits on foundations. He will definitely do it for a reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If there's a reason to put weapon on a bunch of foundations, we're getting it.
I hope so, because that's the one thing about Swordman that makes me sad.
Yeah, Swordman's coming back, guys.
Yeah.
And by coming back, I mean...
Yeah. You can build a Swordman deck and feel like you built a deck that does things. And maybe a bunch of these weapon foundations are 3 difficulty. Maybe he'll actually be okay. If, that's a free 3 damage and filter and stun 1 or something, right? That's not bad.
Yeah. It's not horrible.
Like, actually, unironically.
I mean, he hasn't done a whole lot ever, but
he's a fun turbo. He was a fun turbo.
Sunglasses was
nice. That thing,
yeah. But if he can suddenly like half his foundations have the weapon keyword, that is a way different deck.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's got a little bit of that. So maybe like, does he share symbols with Mitsurugi?
Well, it's quite different, right?
I don't even think he does. I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's that 5+. So
yeah, the 5+.
He gets out with one of them for free.
Yes.
Right. So the first time you check a 3, you draw 2 cards, and it's a 5, and now you're a 729.
Yeah.
And
I guess that's
you have some insurance.
You're right. So you're effectively like, you can be drawn 2 on your turn and on their turn. Like, all right, I guess that's why he's
9, right?
Yes.
He's got like the Guile thing going on where he can be up to a 9-hand size, and instead of this weird conditional speed thing, he has this weird conditional speed on some attacks, damage on some attacks. Maybe I want to play reversals so I can queue these up because they both say you're next.
I mean, he can have some hard hitting Chris Blatts. That's for sure.
Yes, he can.
I can have some hard hitting Steel Resurrections. Is certainly a thing. If he has weapon foundations, he can like try stuff on a 7.
And then play that afterwards. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah. It's Yoshimitsu. He should be weird. He is weird. It's really hard to wrap your head around like what that enhancer, because that's 6 total points of bonus on your 5+. That's a good rate. You just need to cash in on it by playing 2 more attacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the next time you're playing 3 attacks in a turn, then the second time you use you're only going to get 3 points out of it.
So do you think there's a snowball chance in hell that we have an attack that has a static? This is also considered a mid attack, or this is also considered a high attack?
Yeah.
God, I hope not.
I'm just saying, because we never know. You never know.
2 printed attack zones somehow.
Yeah.
How does this since we're talking rules a little bit, how does that work with multiples? Did that just do nothing? Because like would they get speed or not?
They are printed mid,
I guess if
right?
the printed attack zone is
because I know it's printed mid if you try to change, if it's like a high.
You're trying to change it.
It becomes a mid if you like Guile's face them. I know that.
I was just curious. Like maybe this is a get fam on the phone and find out.
No, I think when you try to multiples main zone, printed zone is mid, because when you Guile's face them, it doesn't matter. It just changes them back to what printed zone is.
But that's more like that more has to do with when you're resetting it.
Oh, you're talking about like actually when you're like say you do like a flying Yamato spear and it's considered it's a high attack.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything that says like a thing's printed attack zone is mid. It's just that if an attack would just like not have a zone for whatever reason, it becomes mid instead.
Okay.
Yeah. Like basically instead of returning null, it'll come back mid.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think it won't, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Ask your local judge.
That said, like he still doesn't necessarily mind. Like he's probably happy to play Windmill Punch anyway. Activate that E on all 4 attacks, and then his next high attack is +12.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a throw. Here, catch.
What I do wonder is, he seems like one of those people where it can be tough just because he says like, your next mid, your next high, are you running lows? If your opponent can basically just completely dismiss a block zone.
Oh yeah.
It makes your offense like a lot harder to like land.
Like
if they're basically
problem.
just like low block, play it. Like, don't need to worry about it. Don't need to hold it. You know, like, just focus on holding, like, good high blocks. And, you know, like, it can be a little dicey.
Sure.
Yeah, he doesn't share with Mitsu. So if Mitsu has anything that, like, cheeky splashes an attack to low, he can't use it. Because that would be pretty good to just be able to make one of your attacks low.
Even if he has it, you know, even if he has something that's, like, you know, right, that's a zone change. I mean, I guess on Chaos, he has Faithful Monster, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and Desperation, Yep.
Yeah. So, all right.
So the guy I accidentally cut off at the end.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about this guy.
This guy's actually. I heard
this guy does not run Missile Launcher.
I heard this guy's a little good.
He totally runs Missile Launcher.
Ding ding. I heard this guy's a little good. Heard he's a little good.
He has some things and stuff.
Yeah. He's like confronting Jetta the character, right? For the most part.
Yeah, only on the plus side.
On the plus side.
Speaking of, I mean, as much as we're joking about Missile Launcher, Windmill Punch is getting a lot of love this set too. I mean, boy, are his Windmill Punches.
Oh yes.
Those are coming for 9.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, him with multiples, Dark Chirito, those get +4. Like the multiple copies do. Right. Like one of the things too, I don't know how much momentum he's going to be getting, but like some of these attacks with like big EX values are pretty interesting. I mean, Nutcracker's like EX3.
Yeah.
You know, if you have like 2 or 3 momentum to dump into that, like, and then you can give it like, you know, like, so if you give it 9 speed and then you just go, no, I'll tack on 9 damage too. Why not? I think there might be a different like jet attack that also has like EX3. So yeah, I mean those.
Hammerhead has EX3 and gives you the momentum.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's sure.
It's a 6 height. Yeah.
So
you can if it's a throw, you can just turn around and -5 speed your own throw,
and
+5 damage.
Just chuck it on there.
Spider suplex. I mean, you know, maybe there's enough other 2-checks that he wants to run that he actually doesn't run Missile Launcher, but
ding.
You just run both. You just run Spider Suplex and Launcher. Maybe you just run Violent Tatsumaki and Missile Launcher.
Just do it all. Just 2-check the deck. Yeah.
We should probably talk about that response more than not at all.
Yeah, I mean, the response is pretty good. Yeah. I've heard him compared to Vespera in a way about like how he can just play reversals for free, I guess, you know.
Yeah, but, I mean, it doesn't say once per turn.
Yeah, it doesn't say once per turn, so you could do it.
And the thing is too is like, so on the one, like, this is sort of an interesting thing where like on the one hand it's good, like, because, you know, if you could just keep doing like the same reversals, like it would just be like brutal. I know people are already talking about with Death running like Guardian Slasher.
Yeah.
And I was even thinking, I was like, well, if it like when it resolves, it removes. I was like, well, if you just use like the Jetta thing, like Concern for the Future, like that's like if it deals, add it to your hand, and then it also has like if it's blocked by like a non-attack.
Yeah,
like,
but it still removes anyway.
But right, all of those things will make it leave the pool, and so it'll never get to your hand. It'll get removed from the game while it's in transition. But yeah, so like after it resolves or would leave the pool, it gets removed from the game, which means that he can reversal you, and it doesn't matter if it's progressive. Yeah. You know, he can just sort of be like, I'll block, here's a reversal, get out of here. You played another one, -5 speed, I'll block,
but
here's
like,
another reversal.
The caveat is, as a 5-hander, though, he's going to, you know...
You can't
want to find ways to draw.
5-hander?
I know he'll find ways to draw. I know. You know, it's like...
He would like to fill his discard, too, which I know a card that does that.
Only one?
Just say it. Just say it. Just say it. You know you want to.
It's a 7-speed low for 10 stun 2 in him.
Ding.
But yeah, it is. Those symbols, they do. He can play the Ken thing that just first F commits to draw. He'll have cards in his RFG.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah,
that'll be good.
That's true. Yep. You can also can also
one of the other one cards, especially on fire, is Jupiter Jazz.
There you go.
Speed.
Were we talking with Barrett about that? Where it's like Jupiter Jazz, get a Punching Judy to hand, and then just punching Judy to death, and then you're.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing too. Is like speaking of like the Nightmare Punching Judy, like if he just does all of them, like so even if he only has like I got like 2 of each, so I'll give it like +6/+6. Oh wait, I mean like +6/+12.
Yeah.
So right, if he has all of them, it's +12/+24.
Yeah.
I hope you have like a reset. But so you can have like 1 card in hand, block, reversal with the Jupiter Jazz, and lose 2 life to either like draw 2 cards or pick up like a non-attack, which can be a Punch and Judy. It can be like
Cool and Focus,
a stop, anything. Yeah.
Prepare to fight, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's going to be dicey too.
So
I guess well, not necessarily. I was going to say the stop probably would too, but if the Jupiter Jazz removes, who knows? If you block with something that's Earth and Fire.
Well, you know what happens then.
I was just talking about playing blue cards in a 5-hand size.
Well, like so if you block reverse Jupiter Jazz and Zhonghua does her R, she can't play Windmill Punch on you, right? Because it says Jupiter Jazz stops it.
No, Jupiter Jazz is an E.
Jupiter Jazz has gotten better.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't you have to play the E on Jupiter Jazz?
Yes. You have to play the E on.
Oh, so you're saying if the
because
the thing is the E is opponent's turn only, so you would have to beat her to the you'd have to elect not to play Windmill Punch for some reason.
Yeah, the problem is if you block, you both get the R, and even if she's like, and you go, I'm going to R and Jupiter Jazz, she can just be like, oh, hold on. I'm going to R and play this.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
yeah.
And then hers will happen first because it went on top.
Okay. Gotcha.
Ooh, here's some fun which attack happens first, James.
Most recently one played.
Yeah.
It's first.
So.
But yeah, so Zasalamel he's got 35 health. Mm-hmm. So unlike our previous fake 5-hand size, this fake 5-hand size does not suffer at all for it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a 9-hand size, but he'll get to 6 or 7 often enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, right, to a degree, he kind of has his discard pile kind of open to him, especially on later turns.
Mm-hmm.
Of just sort of take his pick of which reversal he wants. That'll be sort of interesting too. Do you play 1 of this, 2 of that? Do you sort of max out on one? I mean, obviously, presumably, he's gonna have 2 to 4 reversals of his own.
Yeah.
Which could be very interesting for those symbols. I know Fire basically didn't get a reversal printed ever, thanks to Vespera. Really up until I feel like
Mortal Kombat
after Vespera there might have been one up until Ken's attack.
Oh yeah. The
Fire now has a few, right? It has Jupiter,
Tongpu,
Shirai, and Tatsu.
Actually, I mean Tongpu's another one, man. You add a character to your hand and get a make it
the
a
multiple copies of 4
and the
high
multiple
8.
copy will get +4 damage. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean he's really good with multiples just because of the printed because they're all printed 0 speed.
Printed 0 speed. Yeah. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. His Shirais are 7 high 6 too. He hits double duty on that. He likes this fire stuff.
Yeah, he does. Yep. Yeah. All right. So we're lightning round done. How long did that take us? A little over an hour.
1 hour 10 minutes.
That's not bad. That's not horrible. That's not horrible. So good job, guys. So overall thoughts. I think we're all pretty happy with the set for the most part, outside of maybe
happy with the characters.
The characters were fun.
It might be early to talk about happy with the set.
Yeah, I mean, the character wise, I think the characters.
Yeah, there's no Quan Chi. There's no
Yeah.
There's no way this is going to be okay characters.
Yeah.
I mean,
obviously,
go ahead.
Akuma by himself would have looked fine. So Liu Kang by himself certainly looks fine.
Yeah.
Jet by himself, I think we probably would have. Spike 1 by himself was obviously dumb. But
yeah.
there's been like some characters that have been like, I don't know if this is that sort of turned out not okay. Have looked okay on their lonesome. So.
Sure.
I mean, to me, like, probably like the 3 sort of like scariest like characters in the set are like Zaslamel, Nightmare, and Zhonghua. Zhonghua is more just because like she sort of seems like a character where it's like, what is she gonna do? Like what like nutty stuff like haven't we thought of, or like what like 3 damage attack haven't we seen that's gonna just be gross as a reversal? And even if it's not now, like there could be one at some point where they just forget.
3 years, yeah. So like, oops.
But like she just sort of has like these like play lines that like you might not see coming until it hits you, and like you just lose a game because of it. So she could certainly have sort of like the surprise factor, but then like really like Nightmare and Zaslamel are just kind of 2 people that are just kind of riding the wave of Missile Launcher, where they're huge, like big stats. Like Nightmare, you're going to see it twice. And like we've already sort of seen characters, like, I mean, between Goro and Huitzel at like the past 2 PTCs that are kind of just already on this plan of playing these like massive, attacks. And great. These just have like the same symbols. Like you're going to be seeing the same stuff. So
yeah, being really good at playing Missile Launcher has carried many a deck already. Mm-hmm. You can even rope Jet into that. You can rope the Kung Jin into that. So yeah, anyone that's really good at playing Missile Launcher, which is most of the characters on symbol in this set, for better or for worse.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, I think we're gonna end the episode because I have to start editing now. So, Tim, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Rob, as always, nice to see you. So I think on the next episode plan, we're going to have J-Ray on. And through the grapevine, I've heard we may have some more Soul Cal spoilers, so previews. So don't know what they're going to be or what, but I was told probably, which is probably yes, most likely. So we'll let you guys know. So everyone, you have a good night. Thanks for watching. Check out the other content providers. They're going to have more previews and stuff like that. Thanks for Jasco Games for sponsoring. Patreon guys, thank you a lot. And we'll see you next time on The Guile Treatment. Have a good night.